Hi, Sten Martin here, and this is the fourth episode in the Depression Crisp series, and that's all about how to make clothes in an easy manner. So this was how far we went in episode 3. In episode 1 we draped the front, in episode 2 we draped the back, and in episode 3 we made this basic ladies jacket. And as you can see, I repinned it all. I had the allowances out when I left you last time. So I just took it off, I marked it, took it off, and turned the allowance in and pinned it. And that's all I actually have done with it. And as you can see, it got a quite smooth line here around. And something I like is to tilt the seam somewhat so it doesn't look so ordinary. So I actually tilted it a little bit backwards here, and I think that gives a nice look in the back together with this back waist dart. And there are a few corrections I would do here. For the first thing is that actually I don't think you can see it, but it doesn't fit quite here in the bust dart. So I would just like to correct this with the scissors, and I just cut off a little excess allowance out here. It's always a little bit difficult to calculate how this would turn out when you pin the dart, but when you turn it around you see quickly how it looks. And it's important too that you got enough support by the shoulder pad, because the sleeve is actually going 1 centimeter inside the shoulder pad here, so you get enough support. So you actually probably would like to put the seam a little bit further in here, something like that. Well, we're doing the color now, and a little important thing to do first is to make a little cut in here at the top bottom. You just turn it out here and make a cut in, and then you're allowed to actually move this front part, so you can make the lapel larger like that or smaller, but we arrive to that later on. But important to make this cut so you can actually transform it. In the back we got a little much ease up here, so you can easily just repin it. Just take the pins out, and you can remove out a little bit excess up here. Depends what material you have, if you can press it in to a nice shape. And be sure it's not too high out here. It should be a nice support by the shoulder pad. So make it nice and snug, and just adjust it to something you would like it to be. You can see I have some pins here where the dart went before when I draped it, but I just removed them now because I want it smooth up here. And you can see actually the center back fold is a little bit too far out here. I saw that just when I repinned it. So now you can just correct it, so you actually turn it a little bit in here like that, so you get an exact center back. But of course don't remove the extra width you have here. It's just to fit it up at center back in the neckline. And down here you can see it tilts a little bit out here, and then you can just, if you have a center back seam, you can just make a cut in here, and then you have material to give it more shape at the center back here, so you can have a nice round behind. And you can see I have a nice shape around here too. Now I'm doing the neck, the collar to the lapel. So I just pushed this one down a little bit. It didn't work, but anyway. So I have this piece of fabric, and it's approximately 15 times 30 centimeters. That's about 6 inches times 12 inches, something like that. But be sure to have enough to drape it around. And then we start, as always, to make a crease here in the center back to make it more stable. And then I just place it up here. And we have to have enough for the allowance downwards. So you place it about 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch down from the seam. And then you just place it in the seam back here. Secure it in the center back. And then it's important that you continue the line, the center back line up here. It's not supposed to go like this or this over here. It's supposed to be quite straight up here. And then you pin it as high as you would like this collar stand to be. And not too high, because you're supposed to be able to turn this down afterwards, so it becomes a collar. So about 2.5 centimeters down here, and you pin it up here, and then you just start cutting. And I try to do this so you can see what I'm doing. But I have the seam up here. Just move it a little bit closer. I have the seam up here, and then I just start cutting so I can make it fit up here. Just do a couple of cuts, and then we turn it forward. Then you can see you want it to be tight to the neck here. You don't want it to be super tight, but just so it stands up here. You don't want it to be out here either, but just in a nice manner. And while you're holding it like this, you cut to the side seam and a little bit further, approximately half of the front neck. And then you pin it just into the fabric neckline. I start to the side seam up here, and then I continue to check that it has a nice room up here. I usually want it to be quite tight into the neck, but that's how you would like it. And then when you come here to the front, you tilt it ever so slightly downwards, and be sure that it still stands and keep it fit to the neck, and you pin it a little bit down on the front neck. Not too much, because the pin will stop you from turning it outwards afterwards. And then you can just turn it down in the back to just see how it looks around here. And of course, the extra width out here will stop the collar from being able to come forward. So you just turn it down, and then you make a few cuts up here, not too far up, but just so you can turn it ever so slightly around here. Try to do it like this, and then you can see that the cuts make it possible to turn it around. Then you would like to place it at the center back. It's important that you place it all the way to the back, otherwise you won't have a straight center back line when you're supposed to double it up afterwards. Then you turn to the front, and now the difficult part and that is to shape
this downwards, and then you put this one on top of it. And it's difficult because you're supposed to have your hand inside here to transport the fabric downwards. If I show it like this, it will be transported down, but I hold my hand like this so you can fold it on top of it. Because it's not supposed to be flat. It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to move upwards in a nice line to continue to the center back. But you usually have to do it a couple of times over and over again. So you just start with putting the fabric down over your hand. Make sure it's fluid inside, and then you turn this one, the collar up, and then you just pin it in place. And you can see that what often happens is that it gets too loose. You can see it's too loose because this will flip up. The more I tighten it, the more secure it will be with the top button. So it's important that you pin this one too. But you need to just place it somewhere to start out with. Then you can actually shape the collar up here. And that you will do with just starting with make some cuts, not too far. You can remove some excess fabric over here. And then you can start drawing. And I think it would be something like this. And you just do it a little bit up here. And this could be whatever you like it to be. It can be big, large, small, whatever. But it usually is a straight angle out here. Not in here, but out here. So I've drawn this, and then I just turn up the fabric till I get a nice shape, and I continue to the back, remove a pin. And here it's important that the fabric covers the seam up here. So I just pin that in place, make sure it doesn't have creases up here, and you have a nice round line. Mark it. Be sure the center back is still straight. And then you can look at the front again. Do you want the label to be bigger? Do you want to tighten it more? Or how would you like it to be? I would like it to tighten a little bit more, and I think my color out here is a little bit too big. It's a little bit too big out here. Oh, sorry, too big out here compared to this one. So I would like to make this a little bit larger, and I can do that because I have made the cut in here before. So I just take this pin out. I transform a little bit fabric out here, like that. Shape it at the top, and then I just put my hand in underneath once more and tighten it so it's covered down here. And I pin it into place. Like that. And then I can just draw the shape I want more exact up here and the seam around here. And it's important, for me, it's important that it's quite tight in the neck, that you don't that you get a nice fluid line up here and that it's tight down here. That's what I'm thinking is important. But it's up to you to design your own color. And then you can remove excess fabric, for example down here. And shape the line. If you want it maybe to be a little bit less straight. Just remove this over here. And then just make some more marks so you're absolutely sure how you would like it to be. And remove a little bit up here too. So that's the label and the color to the label, and it's two-piece notched label. And of course you have to remove this, and you would like to pin securely underneath here and mark it too. And then you have to repin it and probably adjust a little bit. But this is an easy way to do it. So that was all for me today. And the next thing we're going to do is to make the sleeve. That will be the 5th episode. Thank you. Goodbye.